Hello everyone, back tuning in to today's second video. We're going to have a look at the weather for the next week to 10 days. So today's second video pretty much taking us to the end of September and just about to the start of October. GFS will extend out through the first week of October, actually. So I'm going to get on with that for you very shortly. Just to say that today's first video was JMA Friday. You can find it here on the homepage. It's above the weather alert section. So it's taking us through into the second half of October. Looks like it'll be quite a chilly start to October, really, with signs of some quite cool, or maybe even at times fairly cold temperatures coming up, and that will be I think seen within this update as well. So I'll get on with that for you very shortly. We're going to start off though by having a look at what's happening in the tropical Atlantic. We've got four areas of interest at the moment. So we've got these four yellow X's. Let's deal with them one by one. The first one here is off the coast of Africa. Let's see what National Hurricane Center is saying about that. So showers and thunderstorms associated with a tropical wave located about 600 miles southeast of the Cabo Verde Islands are showing some signs of organisation. The environment is forecast to be conducive for slow development, and a tropical depression could form early next week while the system moves westwards at 15 to 20 miles an hour across the low latitudes of the eastern and central tropical Atlantic. So within the next 2 days, there's only a 20% chance, a low chance, of this becoming a tropical storm. But in 5 days, there's actually a 60% chance that this could become a tropical storm. So there is a real chance that might be our next named tropical storm. Then we've also got disturbance 2. So with this one closer towards the Caribbean, there's a 10% chance of cyclone formation in the next 48 hours. They're saying a weak low-pressure area located about 600 miles east of the Windward Islands is producing disorganised showers and thunderstorms. The combination of dry, mid-level air and strong upper winds is expected to hinder any further development of this low while it moves west-northwestwards at around 10 miles an hour. So for the next 2 days, there's just a 10% chance that this becomes a tropical storm. And for the next 5 days, there's just a 10% chance that this becomes a tropical storm. So I don't think we have to worry too much about that one. Then here in the northern part of the tropical Atlantic, we've got disturbance 3. So there's a 0% chance of cyclone formation with this one in the next 48 hours. They say a broad area of low pressure located just southeast of Bermuda is producing minimal shower activity while it moves southward at 10 to 15 miles an hour. Although a combination of dry air and strong upper level winds is expected to inhibit any significant development over the next few days, the environment could become conducive for slow development when the system moves over the southwest Atlantic Ocean during the middle of next week. So there's a 0% chance of that doing anything in the next 2 days, but in the next 5 days there's a 20% chance. That could be one to keep an eye on as it heads closer towards the Caribbean. And then finally we've got disturbance 4, which has a 10% chance of cyclone formation in the next 48 hours. A non-tropical low-pressure system is forecast to develop tonight over the central subtropical Atlantic Ocean, midway between Bermuda and the Azores. Conditions are expected to be conducive for the low to acquire subtropical or tropical characteristics, and a subtropical or tropical cyclone is expected to form late this weekend or early next week while the low meanders over the central Atlantic Ocean. Next 48 hours, there's just a 10% chance it might become tropical, but in the next 5 days, there's a 70% chance that this could become tropical. So these are the 2 greatest areas that we might get our next named storms from. And then these 2, well, this one doesn't look like it's going to do very much at all, but that one, as it heads down towards that sort of area, it might develop in the next sort of 5 days. So we've got sort of 4 areas of interest. One probably isn't going to do anything at all. Another one, very low chance it does something, but it could develop into tropical storm as it gets closer to the Caribbean. And then those 2 in the, well, that one in the North Atlantic Ocean and that one just there, they are high probability actually, but in the next 5 days they're going to become named storms. So soon be time, I think, to start looking at this on a daily basis. Right, coming back closer to home, we can see from the GFS ensembles that things are turning cooler. In fact, have turned cooler and are likely to stay generally quite cool for the next couple of weeks. So these are the GFS temperature and precipitation ensembles. We're looking at Newcastle upon Tyne today. The red line here is the 30-year upper air temperature for Newcastle. And it's cooler now than average. It's going to stay that way through to the start of next week. The temperatures are staying, upper air temperatures are staying below the red line, below the 30-year temperature averages. Looks like it's going to be a cool weekend to the start of next week. Briefly, through the early part of next week, temperatures do start to lift up, but then as we get through to the start of October, those are upper air temperatures, by the way, won't necessarily feel that on the surface. It will still be quite chilly at night through much of next week. Don't rule out the risk of frost, even with those upper air temperatures starting to pick up a little bit. Through the first week of October, definite signs that the temperatures are trending cooler, definite signs that they're going below the 30-year temperature average. So this is looking like quite a cool couple of weeks coming up, really. And even when we get that warm-up through the early part of next week with the upper air temperatures, it will still be quite chilly on the surface, particularly so at night. So I do think we're shaping up for quite a cold start, potentially, to October. We see this on the temperature anomaly. So this is the temperature anomaly from the 21st of September to 29th. And we're coming out cooler than average for the UK and Ireland. Below average temperatures being predicted here. Many parts of Norway also coming out below average with the temperatures. And even a few parts of Central Europe like Denmark, Germany, some parts of the Low Countries, even there, just beginning to dip down a little bit with those temperature anomalies after what's been a really long, hot summer for many parts of Europe. Definite signs that those temperatures are beginning to lower, but particularly so in the northwest, UK, Ireland, Norway, looking really quite cool indeed in the week ahead. Precipitation-wise, it looks like that. So for Scotland and Northern Ireland, coming out a little bit drier than average. So England and Wales actually coming out average to possibly slightly wetter than average. That is mostly down, though, to what is happening on Sunday. And I'm going to talk you through that just in a second. Actually, most of next week will be dominated by high pressure, so it will be back to dry weather really next week. But with a very wet day possible on Sunday, that could still bring the anomaly for the week, the rainfall anomaly for the week, out a little bit above average for parts of England and Wales from the 21st of September to the 29th. Let's show you what's happening with this low pressure. So this is the FACS chart for midnight on Sunday. This is the human interpretation of models by forecasters at the UK Met Office. This area of low pressure down here has been causing all sorts of problems with the model output. The latest idea is that by midnight on Saturday, we've got this warm front that's setting up across southern parts of England and Wales, going back into an area of low pressure to just the south of Ireland, and there's its attendant cold front as well, and there is a little bit of an occluded front just there. So that's actually what we call a triple point low, because you've got 3 points on below. You've got a warm front, a cold front, and an occluded front. If we got this sort of scenario in the winter, this would be a snowmaker for many parts of the country. And the heaviest precipitation will always be around the triple point. Just there, and these sort of situations, as these triple point lows run across the channel and sometimes across the south coast, they can produce huge amounts of snow actually in the winter. Now of course it's September, so there's not going to be any snow with this, but there may be a few flakes actually over the Pennines, possibly if it gets far enough north to the mountains of southern Scotland. But I don't think it's going to get that far north. But maybe some parts of the Pennines, on the tops of mountains, maybe even the tops of the Welsh mountains, might get a little bit of sleet or wet snow out of this, even though it's only September. So this is how the FACS chart looks for midday on Sunday, and again we see the low pressure is running across the south. There's the position of the triple point across East Anglia at midday on Sunday. The heaviest rain will always be, or the heaviest precipitation will always be around the triple point. So that's bringing a lot of very wet weather across many, particularly central and southern and southeastern parts of England and Wales. Really wet weather, possibly torrential rain in with that. And notice tightly packed isobars as well on the northern and southern side of this low. So the southern side of the low is really through the Channel and across northern France into the Low Countries. There's likely to be gale force winds there, but there could be a wraparound of gale force winds on the northern side heading into particularly Lincolnshire, East Anglia, maybe down to the Midlands on Sunday afternoon. It could get a little bit stormy. I'm not sure if it's going to be a named storm or not. If it is named, it'll be Connor. But I'm not sure if it will be or not. But it's quite a nasty area of low pressure there that's running in through the course of Saturday night into Sunday. And then we go through to midnight on Monday, and that low pressure has gone spiralling off into central eastern parts of Europe, moving very, very quickly. Indeed, we're seeing this ridge building up from the Atlantic. Winds are turning to the north, so it's going to be really chilly to start next week. But as the high pressure builds in, it will bring dry weather back. However, expect suppressed daytime temperatures, and nights could be notably cold, really, for September, with maybe even the chance of some air frost up in the north. Let's see how the GFS is dealing with weather the next couple of weeks then, and this is how the GFS looks for tomorrow morning. So at that point, we're between low pressures. We've got low pressure over Scandinavia. That's a low pressure that could give us the very wet day in the south on Saturday. But in between, we're actually under this ridge, so it will be a mainly dry start to Saturday, but quite cold as well. That's 6 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. The low is moving in across the south. So again, remember, we've got the triple point. We've got a warm front in that sort of position when it goes down to there. And then there's a cold front like that and a cloudy front like that, and your triple point actually meets somewhere around there. So that low pressure is moving across the south, bringing a lot of very wet weather for, of course, a Sunday morning. This is midday on Sunday. GFS is not whipping this up as much as the facts charts were shown, as the UK Met think it's not developing it as much. So not as much of a problem from wind, but there is still a lot of heavy rain associated with that, particularly affecting parts of southwest England, the Midlands, Wales, East Anglia. Torrential rain possible through the course of Sunday in those areas. Ice bars do tighten a bit by 6 o'clock in the evening on Sunday, as that low pressure is moving into the Low Countries and Germany. You'll notice running down the North Sea, we have got quite a strong wind. Not as much as what the facts charts were showing from the UK Met, so not quite whipping this up as much. But even so, could get a bit windy if that's right down the eastern side. Next week, of course, the high pressure is ridging in from off the Atlantic. That settles us down, but it will be quite cold, particularly so at night. Middle part of next week might just bring up some slightly warmer air from the south temporarily, but doesn't last very long. And by the end of next week, the ridge, although it's back in across the country again within cooler air. So it is going to be quite a cool week coming up next week, despite the fact it's dominated by high pressure. We run up towards day 10 and start to turn things more unsettled again. So this is getting close to day 10, Sunday 30th of September, bringing a cold front down from the northwest. That's taking a band of rain with it and introducing quite a chilly northwesterly wind. That's day 10, Monday 1st of October. Notice this low over here on the far left-hand side of the chart as you're looking at it. That is some sort of tropical storm development just there. In the extended range of this GFS run, look what it does. It keeps that high pressure out to our west and starts to tilt the winds more towards the northwest, or possibly even northerly. So this does hint at a real drop in the temperature through the first week of October. And in fact, by the end of the GFS run, it's a long way out, Sunday the 7th of October, but we are in a direct northerly wind. Then, if you follow the isobars back, the air is originating from the Arctic. So that's a really cold northerly wind that's plunging down across the country. Really cold for the time of year, and will probably be bringing night frost quite widely across the country. And I suspect even in the north, you would even expect the chance of some snow showers to be turning up across the northern parts of Scotland. So a bit of a northerly snap appearing there on the 7th of October. But it is very, very extended rain stir. There's the upper air temperature. You see the -5 isotherm is dipping down across Scotland into Northern Ireland and Northern England. So just telling us that the air is getting genuinely cold there. We wouldn't be talking about cool temperatures. We will be talking about cold, genuinely cold temperatures with night frost, possibly snow showers across the northern parts of Scotland. That's how the ECMWF is looking for midnight tonight. This is midnight Saturday. Remember, you're only going 24-hourly steps with this one. So at midnight tonight, we've got the low pressure over Scandinavia, that was yesterday's Storm Brona. And then we've got this low pressure out in the Atlantic that might or might not become Storm Connor on Sunday. That's how things look at midnight on midnight on Sunday, so midnight Saturday to Sunday. The low pressure is again running in across the south. That's taking very wet weather across England and Wales. That little low just there is where the triple points are meeting. So that is the triple point of the low. And then the next 24-hourly step takes us to midnight on Monday. By then, the low pressure has gone off into Central Europe. So we've been unable to see how much that develops the low through the course of Sunday, whether it brings just heavy rain or whether it brings heavy rain and gales. We don't know. We'll know more, I think, when the midday run of the ECM updates around sort of 7 o'clock this evening. And then the high pressure is toppling in from off the Atlantic through the course of Monday. And then next week is dominated by high pressure, never far away, right way up to day 10, which takes us to Monday the 1st of October. We've got high pressure dominating. There's the upper air temperatures. They don't look overly cold, but underneath that high pressure, getting late enough in the year now that even if the upper air temperatures are relatively warm, down on the surface, if there's nothing to stir up the air, by the time you get through to October, it is likely to be getting quite chilly, particularly at night, and especially if you get mist and fog forming. That's the other thing we've got to watch out for. That high pressure builds in next week. We're getting to a time of year where mist and fog is likely to develop by night under high pressure if the skies are clear. And although the sun has still got quite a lot of strength to it, it can take quite a while to burn it off when you get through to October, and that can limit your daytime temperatures as well. And then finally, the GEM looks like that for midnight tonight. Got low pressure over Scandinavia, low pressure waiting in the Atlantic, building this little ridge up. It'll be quite a chilly night tonight, actually, under that ridge. That's midnight Sunday. The low pressure moving in off the Atlantic, bringing heavy rain in from the southwest. Now, the GM does develop this more in terms of wind. So that's a situation at midday on Sunday, and you'll see much more tightly packed isobars there. Very reminiscent of actually what the UK Met Office facts charts are showing. So maybe the GM is the one that has this right, developing this into quite an intense area of low pressure. So you've got gale force winds coming around this low pressure, particularly affecting parts of the Midlands, eastern England, probably Wales and southwest England as well. And also copious amounts of heavy rain. I think it could be up to an inch or two of rain with this low pressure on Sunday. By midnight Monday, that low pressure is spiralling off into central parts of Europe. The ridge is building in from the Atlantic. We've got those chilly northerly winds. And then through the course of next week, high pressure is dominating the weather. May get a little bit warm around the middle of next week, and then it turns cool again towards the end of next week as the wind swings back in to a northwesterly direction once more. That's how we look at day 10, and still dominated really by high pressure, although we are showing signs of moving low pressure in from the Atlantic. That's quite an interesting chart, actually, because this low pressure just here is probably going to move through like that, with this ridge in the middle of the Atlantic. That's like to push up to there. And so the upshot, probably very similar to what the GFS is showing, I think, through the first week of October, will be to turn those winds into the north. So going to be more high pressure next week, but it's not going to be particularly warm. There will be some chilly nights to come next week, and probably not overly warm days. It may get a little bit warmer around Wednesday or Thursday down in the south next week before it cools down again from the northwest. But there will be a lot of dry weather. So after the deluge, it could be on the way across parts of England and Wales for Sunday, things will be drying up through the remainder or through the rest of next week. In more extended range, still the hints are there that things might turn actually quite cold. I was going to say cool, but that could actually turn cold through the first week of October. Wouldn't be ruling out the risk of some widespread frost if those winds do get into the north, and possibly even a little bit of snow over the higher ground of northern Scotland. And of course this is all tempered though by what's happening in the Atlantic. It looks like things are beginning to increase again in terms of those tropical storms. So that again will add an extra layer of uncertainty about what's going on with those. So all model output when things are livening up in the tropics does need to be taken with a rather large pinch of salt. Right, that's brought you up to date with all of the developments. Big weekend of updates coming up. Tomorrow we're going to have a weekend broadcast. There'll be a week to 10 day update as well. And we'll have a CFS 6 months look ahead just for fun. That will take us through the rest of the autumn and winter months. On Sunday, we've got the 4th winter update coming up for you. The 4th winter update will be on the way on Sunday. And, of course, there'll be the ECMWF and Metro France seasonal model update as well. So loads going on at the website this weekend. Keep checking back for all of the updates. But that's all for now, and thanks for watching.